By now, you've all read my shirt, which may not realize that not only is there the verbiage, but underneath is a map of the state of Michigan. Why would it be Michigan? I live in Georgia. I also live in Michigan. And this summer became a very unusual summer for me. I wanted to have a nice, calm, quiet summertime with my wife in our home in northern Michigan. And I was having exactly that kind of summer. Many of you are on Facebook and in the internet one way or another, and I am too. And one day I am looking at Facebook posts and I discover a call to ride to DC. This happened in the middle of August. And the call was about 3 weeks in front of September 11th, 2013. And that was the day to arrive in DC. I was inspired. And I was a little intrigued at the idea. Now, you understand that I'm a long ways away from Washington, D.C. at this point. I'm 1,000 miles away. Just to get out of the state of Michigan, I'm about 350 miles north of the southern border near Toledo, Ohio. And I'm beginning to think about the logistics of doing such a long ride. The idea of doing it by myself really wasn't appealing to me. But what I did read was this posting: 2 million bikers to DC for September 11th. That intrigued me. I wanted to know what that was going to be like. Now, I've ridden in large groups, anywhere from 100 to 300 in a single ride here in Peachtree City. But the idea of riding to DC and being there with a couple of million other riders was something awesome to me. The concept just had me going. And I looked at my wife and I said, I kind of want to do this. And she looked back at me, are you really sure you could do that? Really? I said, you know I've ridden 1,000 miles in 20 hours from Peachtree City to Mackinac Bridge. You know I can do this. She said, yeah, I know, but you're really sure you want to try? I said, well, yeah, but not by myself. Let me see what I can do. And I continued to research this website and the other related things, and they had it broken down by state category. And I discovered a group in Michigan that wanted to gather down in a town of Dundee, Michigan, in the southeast corner, and said, let's get together at Caballas at Dundee, and we'll ride from there. Great, cool idea, I like that. That's 300 miles away from my house. That's a one-day quick drive. I know motorcycle riders are crazy people, and 300 miles is a one-day quick drive. Would that be for you? Would that be a one-day quick drive for you? Probably not. Most of you would think I'm nuts. Well, you wouldn't be totally wrong either. I'm a motorcycle rider. We're always a little nuts. I'm the guy that takes from this building to my house is 1 mile. I may take 20 miles to get home if I'm on the motorcycle. The motorcycle doesn't like to go in straight lines, and neither do I. But this was DC, and it's a long haul. When I look at it all, I put it all together, and I begin to see the logistics of the possibilities. And if I go on Monday, I can catch up with the guys and want to ride and pick up in Dundee on Tuesday, and we can be in DC on Wednesday, September 11th, 2013. Imagine this. And I'm thinking, yeah, that'll work. Now, I have to abandon my son and my future daughter-in-law on Monday because they're up at our house visiting, and he's in Petoskey, Michigan. They were supposed to fly out that day. They changed their itinerary, decided they were going to leave on Tuesday, and I've got to go. I'm going. I'm leaving. My wife says, yeah, okay. Well, she took care of them. I left. I got down to Dundee, stayed overnight, met up with the other riders the next morning at 8:30 in the morning. By 9 o'clock, we started to ride. We rode down into Ohio. We went east. We went through multiple states. But we had a ride later that took us in a direction we really didn't want to go. There was a place in Lima, Ohio where we could go east and cut off 150 miles. You know, he went all the way down to Dayton, Ohio to pick up Interstate 70. It's a straight ride across I-70 at this point, but that's 150 extra miles. That's 2 to 3 hours extra riding time. But that's what he did. Some of the group broke off and went the other way. I went down with him down to this extra 150 miles. I tell you, by the time we got into D.C., it was midnight. It was late. We went to the campground at the KOA just outside of D.C., and we were beat. I was tired. At one point, I didn't realize it. I'm driving along and we're going over the mountains in Pennsylvania, and it was getting pretty chilly. And I reached down and I have some air dams on my motorcycle, and I tried to put them out. To turn one out, to turn the other out, and I went to reach down for the other one, and it wasn't there. I went, what? And I felt again, and it wasn't there. There was a hole underneath where it's supposed to be. Next thing I mentioned it to another rider, and he said, oh, was that plastic thing I ran over while we were riding to Brother as a group? And oh, by the way, I wasn't the first one to hit it, he says. I said, well, thanks. Of course, we're rolling down the highway. Nobody's going to stop. We just run over things like that. We keep going. Altogether, this group was 28 riders out of Michigan. We got to D.C., we met up with others, and the next day, September 11th, on Wednesday morning, we go to the Harley-Davidson dealership in Washington, D.C. We meant to be there a little bit earlier, but we stopped and had some breakfast. And good thing we did, because it was about the only time we got anything to eat until later in the day. And just like we thought it would be. It was fantastic. Look for the videos in YouTube. Look for the videos about all the riders in D.C. You will see what it's like to see 1 million riders in D.C. Washington, D.C. police estimate 1.3 million riders. Now, you can see it yourself. It was videoed, but you can't see it on the traffic cameras in Washington, D.C. that day. The mayor of Washington, D.C., in his infinite wisdom, decided this was not something we want our city to be known for, so he shut off the traffic cameras. In fact, he did something worse, really. He put them on loops of videos from other days. And you go look at them, and it looks like there was nobody there. It was a weekend, nobody there. But one camera. And I want to believe that the operator put it there. It shows snow on the ground in Washington, D.C. that day. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never experienced snow on the ground in 94-degree heat in a day, in the middle of the afternoon. But that's what you see on the camera. All in all, going there was one of the most rewarding experiences I've had. We were there to stand up for America. We were there to be seen, to be heard, and trust me, 1 million motorcycles in Washington, D.C. gets heard. We were not given a permit to be in the city. But we decided, we don't need no stinking permit. We drove into DC anyway. At least half of them drove into DC. You got 500,000 motorcycle riders in DC. It was crowded that day, but we had a blast. 2 accidents all day. Guess what? Got the news. Both accidents. But it was still a great ride. You should go to DC the next time there's a major call to ride to DC. Mr. Postman.